going to have anyone else. I know Miss Williams sent her regrets as she had another meeting and a conflict. So I think we can go ahead and get started. Do we have a quorum? Not. We need one more person for a quorum. So I guess we can't vote on the minutes to approve the minutes, but Miss Carlin, if you could roll call, please.
Sure. Chair Villagomez,
Present.
Mr. Dura,
Present.
Mr. Fulton, Mr. Scales, Miss Beverly Williams, Miss Sheila Williams requested an excuse absent, and Miss Wilson.
Present.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Miss Carlin. So again, welcome everybody. I hope you had a wonderful summer while we had our break. And I hope that everybody's enthusiastic as we get going again. We have our Mapping Prejudice project, which is sort of our, at least one of our anchors. We may have a few other anchors that come up in the next few months, but I'm excited as we can move forward into this new project. Again, I'm really blessed to be here and happy to be with you on Zoom. We'll see if we are going to meet maybe face to face. I have a feeling Dr. Christian and Miss Carlin may have some updates about possible options for meeting days and times. I know that we were going to work on that over the summer. But what I would like to do is really thank those who joined me. So, of course, the whole wonderful staff here and Dr. Christian. But Miss Wilson came out and she was just wonderful in promoting AAHI. Got so many signatures. Miss Williams was there, and then, like I said, Mr. Robert, who was truly the rock star. I felt like I was so privileged. He was so popular, and so we really had a great time. Of course, we didn't do any oral histories this time because it was really too loud and we didn't have a space. But I think we collected more names and really, especially because of Miss Wilson and Miss Williams, just such great outreach. And so hopefully we'll keep those connections and encourage people to possibly join as commissioners and send those applications in or join our subcommittees. I really hope this year or beginning this fall that we will be able to start organizing our subcommittees, and so we can talk about that maybe if we have time at the end of this meeting, or if you have thoughts about it, you can always reach out to me. But again, kudos, and I'm just so thankful and grateful to all of you who came on Juneteenth to support AAHI. You might remember that I'm actually the chair of the arts subcommittee, and it made me feel inspired when I remembered this when I got back into town. I did have some guilt over not being able to go to any of the wonderful activities and performances and events related to the Black Theater Festival. I did actually transport a really beautiful lady who is one of the Dr. Maya Angelou's good friends, and she was lost downtown, and so I got her to where she needed to be, but I was just dealing with things with my mother and out of town, so I didn't get to anything. But I wanted to encourage all of you, if you know anyone who went to an event or performed in an event, or anybody who was active with the theater and the theater festival over the years, please let me know. I know Mr. Robert and we've been talking about these kinds of things over the summer, and he has such wonderful stories to share about all kinds of things, the schools, theater, um, all kinds of things. And I know, again, that one reason Councilperson Scipio encouraged all of you to apply was because you each have wonderful, rich stories, stories that your grandparents and aunts and uncles told you, as well as your own personal stories. And so I just want to start from within our group. And so if you have a story related to the theater festival and want to tell it, then please reach out to me. The good news is that I'm teaching almost everything asynchronous this fall, with the exception of the internships for our AAHI WSSU interns. And so I should have a lot of time to go out and whether I borrow our WSSU equipment or the city equipment, sort of deploy out and do the oral history recordings as we can schedule them. Uh, Now, my third update is with the Anderson High School Athletic Alumni Association and their project. So I missed the July meeting, but I did go to their May and their June third Thursday of the month meetings, and they're a great group. And I'm sure that some of you know some of the gentlemen, including Mr. Kwame Finney, who hopefully will be joining us as a commissioner. But while I was away, they sent me a few emails, and they're working on, I think, their oral histories and probably some pictures as well. And so I hope to attend their meeting this month and connect some more. And what I love is that they're so enthusiastic and wonderful people, and they really want to show their civic pride and their school pride. And so they're being very creative and very strategic and thoughtful about this process. So it's taking a little bit of time, but I think the outcome is going to really be wonderful, and we'll be able to record those things and they'll be in our archive for good. So I'll have updates on that, but if you would want to attend this month's meeting, let me know, and I'll give you the details once they confirm where they're going to meet this month. Oh, sorry, I just had a weird thing happen on my computer and I thought I lost you all. Oh, Councilperson Scipio has joined us. Hello.
Hello, how's everybody?
It's so wonderful that you're with us. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm sorry. I'm just going from one meeting to another, so I'll just listen.
Well, it's great to have you here. You look wonderful. Councilperson Scipio, were you able to get to any of the Black Theater Festival events?
Yes, but I'll talk to you in a few.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to move on to mapping prejudice. We really accomplished a lot with the steering committee that was headed by Dr. Smith and and we had some spatial justice studio interns work with me and Dr. Smith, and especially with Mr. Flynn, who's with us this year. We're hoping to move and make more progress and actually begin to look at the racial covenants. We're still waiting from the University of Minnesota to send all of the deeds back to us. But as I was mentioning, as I was chatting before we officially started, yesterday we did 2 workshops, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. We were invited, thanks to the great networking of Mr. Flynn and Dr. Smith. We were invited by the social studies director for the whole system. And we had close to, between the 2 sessions, between probably 40 to 45 teachers, mostly high school teachers, those who are teaching economics, I think personal development, African American studies, AP African American studies, world history, US history, and so we are encouraging them to incorporate some aspect of the project into their classes. I also used it as an opportunity to really spread the word about AAHI. And I also met the head of the magnet schools, so Miss Monte Irvin that I mentioned, who actually was quoted along with her son for the We Built This back in the spring, and was really excited to hear about AHI. And she's going to be putting us in connection with, I guess, the Black coalition within, I think, the school district. And so she hopes to invite us to classes that she's organizing where Black elders will come in and talk about things like farming and their experiences growing up. So I made sure that everyone that we spoke to knew that besides Mapping Prejudice, which is our anchor project right now, that we have other kinds of things that we could help them do to develop curriculum that would be directly aligned to AAHI. And so I'm hoping Mr. Robert will come on board with me as I try to connect with as many teachers as possible, including a few of my own former students who surprised me, and they were there yesterday. But I would love for Mr. Flynn to sort of give his take, because he actually supervised the learning activity that we did with the teachers yesterday. So Tom, could you talk a little bit about what you thought about for our workshop yesterday?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. So yesterday was professional development for the social studies department for the school district, and the big thing was getting them to tell us how they might incorporate the project into the classroom, because we have ideas, but they're the ones that would have to. They're dealing with the curriculum, they're dealing with their schedule and stuff like that. So it was showing them what could be done, having students reviewing the deeds, but really asking them what do they need for it to be successful. And they gave us some great feedback. They said charts, graphs, some of the skills that their students really need work on, and how that could be related to the project and involved in the classroom. But it was good. There was good feedback. There was great ideas. And I think some of the teachers, I haven't checked to see how many of them scan the QR code to ask for more information or to say they were willing to volunteer. So just feedback anecdotally, it was all very positive.
Thanks, Tom. And I know you've been recruiting and spreading the word about oral histories. Do you want to talk about that as well?
I mean, we're just doing what we kind of always do in offering when we meet new people, offering them the opportunity to kind of share their story. I'm sure you all are aware that we have a new chancellor here at WSSU, and her parents are both alum. And so having them become a part of our oral history project is a big step, because that kind of would show from the very, very top that this is a valid and really important kind of process. So we're looking forward to potentially moving forward with that as well.
Thanks, Tom.
Of course.
And it really was fun, and it was great to see the interest, as well as I think the care, the sensitivity to all of the issues that AAHI and Mapping Prejudice are concerned about. And so we'll see where we go with it. The last note I want to make about Mapping Prejudice is that probably around mid-September, maybe by the beginning of October, Dr. Smith's asked me to organize 2 community meetings, so standing meetings per month, probably one at CDI, the Center for Innovation Design. That's pretty central. It's on Rams Drive. There's good parking there, and it's a beautiful, interesting sort of architectural space. And then the Central Library had offered to open up one of their spaces once a month. So we'll have those, but also, you know, we can be thinking about possibly getting people involved in mapping prejudice at churches and different civic groups, neighborhood meetings, etc. But we can also then, when we're there, spread the word about AAHI. And so I just continue to encourage everybody to reach out to church friends, neighborhood friends, old school friends, because we can be creative and try to figure out spaces. We can go to the people, just like with the Anderson group. You know, the Anderson alumni are really enthusiastic about what they're going to do with us, and they're being thoughtful and taking their time and really planning how they're going to work with us to share their oral histories and any images that they want to share. And so we just need to continue to connect, especially with our esteemed elders, the different groups that they're a part of. And so please just keep that in mind. Wherever I go, I try to spread the word about AAHI and now mapping prejudice, because I think when we have at least one anchor, that gets people interested as well. For instance, not to personalize it too much, but I had my annual physical this morning, and my new physician assistant is a alumna of WSSU, beautiful young lady. She's a nurse practitioner, and so her parents went to Atkins, and so she was really, really excited that I was at the new Atkins yesterday. And so you can always spread the word. But the final point that I'd like to make is that we will have 6 interns this semester. So 6 interns from our history program. Almost all of them are double majors and really committed to social justice and reparative justice. And 3 of them are seasoned interns with us now, and but 2 of them will be graduating at the end of this semester. And then I'll be sort of training 3 new people who are very, very intelligent, empathetic, great students. And I'm looking forward to working with them. They write well, they're inquisitive, they care about justice. And so I don't have my dates yet for when I'll be doing the Zoom meetings with them, but as always, if you have something in mind that you would like to have the interns do with us to support whatever you want to do for AHI, please let me know. And also, of course, you're always welcome when we have the Zoom meetings to come in and meet the interns and teach them or learn with them and participate in the discussions. So we continue at WSSU through our public history program to be absolutely committed to AHI and to really align as much of our public history work as possible with the goals and the mission of AHI. So looking forward to this academic year, and hopefully I can get students who are not history majors involved as well. So thank you, and Dr. Christian, that's the end of my updates today.
Awesome. Thank you, Chair Leila Gomez. For our department, there are 1 or 2 things that we do want to discuss. Before I do that, however, I do want to ask Ms. Erica Simon if she has anything that she wants to share with the group.
Good afternoon. No updates at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan, do you have anything? Thank you. So as speaking of spacing, we have been looking into the spacing for AAHI meetings in person. So we do have 3 possible venues in City Hall that we can utilize, as well as one space in the Bryce Stewart building, which is located directly across the street from City Hall. So the big question is whether or not the AAHI members want to actually meet in person. And if so, then we can go ahead and finalize the space. And we also need to talk about time. If, of course, the meeting times are going to change along with the in-person status, then we definitely want to solidify that as soon as we can as we prepare for the meetings moving forward.
Well, my schedule is fairly flexible. I guess I continue to think what is the best way. I love meeting in person, but if that's a hindrance for getting a quorum, then maybe we should stay on Zoom. But for me, whatever is going to work out that's most convenient for the most number of our commissioners, to me, that's ideal. So, Ms. Annette, Mr. Robert, what are your thoughts about days and times and places?
Well, I don't think we're the ones you need to be asking because we're the ones that are always here.
Exactly.
So that's, no, so either one will work for me, whether it's in person or whatever. And as far as a time, right now this is a busy time for me, so I can't give you a specific evening time or alternate time right now. I'll just try to make it work. So, but I again, I don't think we're the people that you need to be asking.
And Robert, do you have a day or time or meeting type of preference?
I like the day that we have.
Okay.
Yeah, and the time seems to be workable.
And I believe Ms. Carlin sent out and made phone calls last spring, and those who are not coming said they still preferred the Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Zoom, but they haven't been coming. So, and I know Miss Sheila hopefully will not be having a conflict every Wednesday that we need to meet. I think it was just kind of an unusual conflict today, but I'm going to check back with her, and I'll call her and talk to her about it. Dr. Christian, you said that we could meet either at City Hall or the other building. Are there specific days that you're thinking about?
Well, what we wanted to do was to first and foremost go ahead and solidify if we are actually wanting to meet in person. Then we could go ahead and find out dates and times and in the respective areas. So what we can do for the next meeting is just go ahead and pull that information together and bring that back to report out, if that's feasible.
Thank you. I think that's ideal, and I think maybe we should stick with Wednesday at 2 for now, since it works for those of us who always come. And then we'll just go from there. And maybe we'll have some new members, I'm hoping and praying, by next month or the month after. Have we had any new applications? Miss Erica, you have your hands up. do we have,
Yes, I just want to point out that city council added to the ordinance and adopted it that if members miss 3 consecutive meetings, they will be removed,
wow, okay.
if they are, unexcused.
And
Um,
when does that begin?
that's already, I believe that is already, I believe they adopted it several months ago. I can get you the new information, but I'm just reading what was on the board in the council meeting. The proposed changes create an attendance policy for city appointees to boards, committees, and commissions. City appointed members must attend at least 65% of all regular and special meetings. Excused absences will not be held against a city appointed member. A city appointed member may have up to 3 excused absences per year. Unless excused, a city appointed member who misses 3 consecutive meetings shall be automatically removed. So that is something you certainly want to think about as moving forward.
Thank you, Erica. Dr. Christian, would it be appropriate for either you in your office or myself to send that out? I don't want it to appear as a threat, but I think the people who are serving right now and not coming for one reason or another, I believe we should somehow make them aware of this new ordinance. So what would you suggest as the most appropriate way to share this update with everyone on the committee?
Well, we definitely can send that out via email to everyone so they are made aware of the new policy change. I know that Ms. Duncan surveyed or polled everyone last year regarding time and location. So if we need to revisit that piece, just to ensure that everyone is still on the same page, so that we can go ahead and say, yes, indeed, want to stay remote. Also, here is the policy regarding the attendance. That way we can have that level of accountability and have people, hopefully, who will show up.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Chairperson Villa-Gomez.
Yes, ma'am.
I do try to call every member, and still I don't get any response or reply from them, certain people. So I don't even know, they don't respond to emails or phone calls. So I don't even know if, the status of.
Thank you so much. I know you have been consistently diligent and careful in doing that. Also, so we make sure everyone's okay. And there's only so much you can do if they don't respond and you're regularly reaching out. Then you're doing the best on our behalf. So we certainly.
Madam Chairman,
yes,
I do need to just state when I accepted and when some of the members that are currently still on the board accepted, we were meeting in person, but in the evenings. And so we know that Mr. It's one of the gentlemen that's on the board. He works. And so if we keep our meeting at 2:00, he's not going to be able to participate because he drives a school bus. So in fairness to him, we do need to, I guess, reach out again and just have whoever makes the contact. Maybe the question is, and I don't know whether we've asked this question, are you still interested in being a part of the board? And if not, then they can submit their resignation. But he was very interested at the time. And so in fairness to him, he's not going to make a 2:00 Wednesday meeting once school is in. And even if he would technically, I guess, be excused, but that doesn't help us get the work we need to be doing or have our quorum.
Exactly.
So that is Mr. Scales who you are speaking of.
I think so. It's not Mr. Fulton, so that must be him.
Okay. So when we send out the poll again, we can also ask that question if they're still interested in being a part of the committee.
Right. And again, it probably, some of us probably are due to come off anyway by our next appointments. I'm not sure of that, but so that might be something you look at as well. So.
And thank you for that, because I did send an email to the mayor's office regarding the AAHI term chart. So we can have that as well, so we can ensure that everyone has the knowledge of when and how much time they have on their remaining term. So we should have that information as well at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And so that's all that I have.
Thank you, Dr. Christian. And are there any more staff reports?
I don't believe so.
Miss Annette, Mr. Robert, do you have anything that you would like for us to discuss? Or any updates?
I do.
Ideas? Okay.
Going back to the names and information we collected during Juneteenth, I think we need to have a plan of action of how we're going to follow up with those people and obtain those histories before, so that we don't get the reputation of asking people to do something and then never contacting them.
True. I meant to reach out to you because I took them with me, and then my mother almost passed away. And
I'm sorry to hear that. Hope
so
she's doing better.
She is, thank goodness. And she'll be moving here. So she bought a house, so she'll be moving out here, and I won't have to be managing her health from the other side of the country. But I had to take care of her, and so I was not able to follow up. And I did want to apologize because you were willing to take those, and you were going to follow up, and then things just sort of got really crazy for me. But I think Miss Carlin might have taken one of this because we had so many people sign up that we had, I think, 2 separate sheets. But I do have those, and so maybe you and Miss Carlin and I can come together and think about how we can begin to follow up with everyone who you especially were the one who really reached out and made great connections for us at Juneteenth.
Okay.
So I'll send an email to both of you and maybe call you, and we can see how we want to move forward with that.
All right. And then the other thing was when you started talking about oral history reflections on the Black Theater Festival, I think a good place for us to begin would be to reach out to former executive directors of the theater, as well as former members of the original board, because they probably are more in tune with what the original vision is, and move up from there. That we should particularly reach out to them and maybe be able to schedule interviews with them. And also Larry's son works at the theater and is has been very much involved through the years. So maybe arrange an interview with him and maybe even Larry's mother. So if we again come up with a plan, schedule the interviews, because I'll be honest, I'm getting a little frustrated, but I do know I'm probably part of the frustration because the team concept hadn't really worked for me. So I'm trying to come up with something else until we can maybe get the teams better organized. So if we schedule some interviews and move forward, then I'll feel like we're accomplishing more than what we have.
Great. Well, would you be willing to team with me on that? And we could, if you want to contact them, if you know them, otherwise I can reach out. And then once we connect with them, would you be willing to come with me to do the oral histories?
I'm gonna say yes, but I do have to
Okay.
say a caveat. I'm not going to be available much in from mid-October to after Thanksgiving. So
Okay.
during that period, I know I'm not available because of a previous commitment. But if we can work on some things prior to then and at least get the ball rolling, and then I'll be glad to do that because I do know Lorente well.
Do you want to reach out to him then and copy
I think we
me?
need to have our plan. Like, these are the dates we're going to interview. This is where we interview, how long it takes. And then that way we're going to them with something concrete.
Right.
So I think we need to come up with a plan that, we have the equipment, or we're going to do this via Zoom, or we're going to go to them. I think we need to come up with our plan and put some dates and deadlines, and then reach out to individuals. Because now I feel like I'm just kind of spinning my wheels. So I would be glad to meet with you. Let us come up with a plan, find out where the equipment is. Can we do this via Zoom? Because, COVID is kind of making a second appearance here. So maybe some of these things could be Zoom, because I know initially at one time working with the city, Linda Dark and I did an interview via Zoom, and it was very good. I mean, in terms of the quality of it and whatever. So can we just get together maybe next week and come up with a timetable and plan of action? And Erica, do we get the equipment through your office, or is that through the marketing department? You're on mute.
We definitely have the laptops and the video
Oh, okay.
down here in our office. So if I'm not here, anybody has access to it.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to be available much next week because we're starting back with all of our.
Oh, I understand.
But if
it can be the week afterwards,
or even say maybe this Friday, we could Zoom. I mean,
I'm
we
not
can't come up
available.
with date. Oh, you're not okay. We can't really come up with dates until we know when they're available. I'm pretty flexible. Not next week, but most of the time through the fall. But
I just say, if we set up a schedule, we're going to interview on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at a certain time. Then they pick a time, because I think, again, I need a little bit more structure right now. So if we say
I sometimes I have meetings.
Oh, I understand, but
yeah.
again, if you can't and I can, if we, I think we can work that out.
Okay. Well, I'll reach out to you and then we can make a plan. And
Okay.
I'm glad you know some of those people. Because I think, again, when we have those personal connections, then they're more eager and they trust us more. So that's wonderful. And for whatever reason, it's just been stirring in me that I think that we really need to start this focus, have one of our anchors in the next few months really being the Black theater and any of the arts, but especially because that's so important. And the community has been part of the great events that just finished, and it's fresh in people's minds. I think it's timely to do this as soon as possible.
I think that's a great idea. And maybe that's what we should do, is rather than each one kind of feeling like they're on their own, if we work as a team, like maybe for the next quarter, we work on the arts, then the next quarter we work on whatever the next group is, business, then the next quarter work on that, maybe, because at least you would know you've got X number of people that are committed to the process, and rather than just putting us out there kind of by ourselves. So I think that's a wonderful idea. So if we work together, because we all know somebody probably in each area, but at least we could, again, have a plan.
Yes, absolutely. So this is great news to me. And I had hoped to get more done over the summer, and I just didn't foresee what was going to come up. But now things are settled down, and one of the reasons I am teaching as much online as possible is so that I can get out there in the community when people say that they want to share their stories with us. So thank you so much, Miss Annette, and I'll reach out to you so we can Zoom and figure out who's going to email whom, etc. But thank you so much.
I'm
Are
glad
there
to.
any other thoughts, suggestions, questions before we end the meeting today?
Well, piggybacking on what you're already doing with the Anderson High School project, everybody athletics something that people have a lot of interest in as well. So it just came to me. I'm meeting with the Atkins alumni having we're trying to revitalize and we're partnering with Winston-Salem Prep and um, Atkins High School, and they're going to be honoring former Atkins athletes later on this fall. So it might be good. That might be a good time for us to identify and get them interested to maybe have a similar group or meet with them as a similar group like you're doing with Anderson athletes. So if we could connect with somebody from each school and reach out, that might be another way for us to get people involved, because they're not going to just talk about athletics if they talk about what it was like when they were playing, and the fact that for many of them we went from in the midst of integration to from segregated competition to integrated competition, and there was a big um, transition even within the athletic programs during that time. So I think that's another way we can get focusing on that specific group of individuals and bring in other people, because I think that's a great connection you've made with Anderson. So I'll be
Well,
willing to do that for Atkins.
it's interesting that you bring that up, because I was actually thinking the same thing yesterday when we were leaving the workshop, because I looked up and I had never been in the new Atkins High School. So it was a beautiful building. But if you look up in the main hallway on the right, you'll see that they have all their Hall of Famers, and they have, all the principals through the years, but they have all of their sort of famous alumni who went on to do great things, but also a lot of the star athletes. And I thought, oh, well, is there a group like the Anderson group? And so I guess
To my
we'll do
knowledge, they're
this.
not an organized group, but one thing that's interesting is all the trophies and everything went from the original school to the new school, which is, I mean, it's either way, but what we're finding is that the students themselves don't really know the history of the original school and even why that's the new school is named and whom it's named after. So we're working to develop an orientation that both schools can use to preserve that historical um, I guess that historical, what's the word? Anyhow, connection. So, like I said, I'll be glad to work with you on that as well.
That would be great. Well, we're thinking the same way, so we have the same motivation. So this is great. And maybe Mr. Robert would be on board with us too for one or both of these with Atkins as well as the arts. So we'll stay connected in our conversations on this. But thank you, Miss Annette.
Sure.
Any other thoughts, questions, suggestions? All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. I did look up when our next meeting will be, if we are going to stick to Wednesday for September. So the first Wednesday will be September 4th. So tentatively, we should expect to come back together, most likely on Zoom, on Wednesday, September the 4th.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Take good care. I'll be in touch. Please reach out to me if there's anything you need from me or want me to be thinking about. And I look forward to getting some oral histories before we meet again. So take good care. Bye-bye.